So I guess I'm ready. I'm a motorcyclist, and it's strange to call myself a motorcyclist because there's this idea that who is a motorcyclist is just someone who rides a motorcycle. Like people commute with a motorcycle, right? This is India where it's one of the primary modes of transport. And I think personally, I just got into motorcycling 2.5 years ago, and all I wanted to do was just get transportation from one place to another because COVID kind of woke me up to the realization that depending on public transport, which I've done most of my life, is not really wise because it can just be taken away from you overnight. Right. So then I was like, if I like to travel and I want to move from place to place, trains, planes is not really the best bet to depend upon, considering the scenario then. So then I look for what to get. Should I get myself a car or motorcycle? Car kind of reminded me of a straight jacket. It just puts you into the space where you're disconnected from the world around you. It's kind of like a bubble. So I'm not in touch with the elements. I just get inside, I put on the AC, so I don't know if it's raining, if it's pouring, if it's cold, if it's hot. Nothing matters. I'm in my own bubble. But with motorcycling, I am at the mercy of the elements, and I'm constantly on that edge where if I am not on point, the bike will fall, because a motorcycle is designed to fall. It's not designed to stay upright. Motorcycle is designed with safety not as a feature but as a bug. Danger is the feature, and that's what excites me about motorcycling, because there's this constant element of being on that edge of safety and danger, and I'm responsible for that. So that sense of agency is something that really gets to me. If I slack off, I'm going to fall. If I slack off and I'm not alert enough, someone else might crash into me. Even if it's not my fault, it's still my responsibility. And that's the way I like to think of motorcycling. Keeps me on the edge. It keeps me responsible. It keeps me capable, because that capability is another large part of being a motorcyclist as a middle-aged man. I found that my cognitive faculties were kind of falling or deteriorating or degrading or decaying, however you want to look at it. But I needed something that would be like a video game. It keeps me alert, keeps me sharp, keeps me excited about life and what's happening around me. And I found motorcycling to be the best way to do that. It's still outdoors. It's still socially engaging. And I'm meeting people on the roadside. I'm meeting people. I'm meeting strangers. I'm meeting friends. I'm meeting people I'm riding with. So it's a very social activity. It can also be solo. Like I ride mostly solo. So I just take off for like months on stretch into the wild. And it really doesn't matter to me whether I'm with a group or not, because interestingly, I found that when I ride solo, I actually make a lot more social connections, because everywhere I stop, people come up to me and with curiosity, and they're asking, who are you? Where are you from? Are you a rider? Where are you traveling to? How long have you been biking? Tell me about your bike. So there's so much of social interaction that happens when I ride solo. Versus if I ride with a group, people are hesitant to come up because they assume, oh, we already got our own thing going, so we probably don't want to be disturbed. So I found in the touring space, riding solo allows me to spend more time contemplating on my own thoughts. Riding solo also helps me make more social interactions with people I might not otherwise engage with, regardless of, the whole socio-economic spectrum. It's just a very interesting space to connect from a stranger to a localite, from a traveler, from a tourist perspective to a localite, from a service provider perspective to a service, taker perspective. So I find that it breaks a lot of barriers. It gets me out of my social bubble where I have my own people that I connect with. When I'm traveling, when I'm motorcycling, I can break all of that and I'm free flowing with anyone and everyone. With a group, it's a different spectrum, because now I'm kind of building stronger bonds with the individuals in that group. So I wouldn't discount group riding, because I think it's still a very integral part of community building, right? The way I see community building, it's like it's 1-to-1, which could be me and my own contemplations. It's 1-to-1 where it's me and my buddy, right? The one person I ride with no matter what, who's got my back no matter what. All of us have that one buddy in our lives. And if you don't, well, go out and find one, go out and make one. Doesn't matter what. Buddy is the most important aspect in your journey of motorcycling. You got to have at least one person you can connect with, relate with, interact with, share your thoughts with. And that's the beginning first step towards community building. right? And then from one to one, you move to one to few. You have like a small group of say 3 or 4, a handful of bikers that get along together, vibe well, connect well, and now can go out on rides together. Could it be a breakfast ride? Could be an off-road expedition? Could be a long travel to Ladakh or something like that. But what really counts with this is you're slowly building community. Currently, I feel like there's this obsession of people wanting to scale overnight. Like you just start a WhatsApp group and then you have like this, oh, I got 100 people in my riding community. How many of you have ridden together? You probably haven't even ridden with 10 people together. So the way I like to look at it is build community organically. Start with your buddy, build a connection with one person. Now I run this Friday bikers backyard group every Friday at 7:30 in the morning in Indranagar, right? And you could be a biker of any kind, sport biker, drag racer, stunter, off-roader, tourer, it doesn't matter. Everyone's welcome here. And the idea is we don't ride, we just chat, we just connect, we just build interactions, build connections, build trust with each other. Because without building that level of trust that you have with one person or with few people, going out into the wild to do adventure is the most foolish thing. Adventure is not foolish because it's dangerous. Adventure is foolish because you don't have people who have your back, right? It's not as much of the skill. It's not as much about your bike being capable for adventure. My focus is on the rider. Do you have basic skills? Do you have basic ability? If you don't, do you have someone who will complement the lack of those abilities in you, right? Likewise, that person may bring their own strengths and weaknesses, and that connects with you because your strengths complement their weaknesses and your weaknesses are being complemented by their strengths. The same thing when it grows into a slightly larger group, which is a handful of people, it just helps you make up for each other's strengths and weaknesses much better. Now you're ready for adventure. That's the best part of being on an adventure. You don't depend on yourself to do everything. You don't depend on the environment to be safe enough that you don't have to do anything because you're out in the middle of nature. And nature is both nurturing and unforgiving at the same time. You're getting the benefits of enjoying the beauty of nature. At the same time, you are liable to the risks that nature presents. And you can't just expect things to go your way because you haven't thought of what could go wrong. Rather, I would say when you're off on an adventure, think of what could go wrong, figure out who can help you when things go wrong, and build a team around that. Build a group of people who complement each other's, difficulties and capabilities. And once you have this, now you're ready for adventure. And I think this is a beautiful way of looking about it because it takes a single player, initiation, thought, contemplation that was going on in your head that you dreamt, oh, I wish I could go to the Himalayas, right? Now that becomes more social, more interactive, more interdependent, right? It's not just about independence, but it's about interdependence. You don't want to be entirely dependent. You don't want to be entirely independent. You want to find this sweet spot of interdependence because that's when you can play with others. Otherwise, it just becomes a solo thing, which is great. But social is always 100x more exciting, more interrogative. You may find people and situations that challenge you. And that's the beauty of being on an adventure. You have no idea what lies ahead of you. You have no idea what's going to come out of the next corner. And that is also why I think we need to grow as community, build this biking culture, because that's the beauty of culture, right? Culture is essentially grown from within. The community decides over time what their culture is, what their vibe is. So the group you ride with essentially is your vibe, right? Your tribe is your vibe is your tribe. It's both ways. So, and I think most of the biking culture in the country is hijacked by brands because it's more of a marketing pitch. Oh, we're just going to build numbers, right? It's all about numbers. The idea of community is not about how cohesive and how connected it is, but more in terms of scale. Oh, we got this many people in our group. We got this many people who are buying our motorcycle and the community is building around that. But are you really building community? You can't depend on brands to build communities for you, and you can't put the entire load and responsibility on community builders and community managers because it's not a job. It's fun, it's play, it's engagement. And the more you find what you bring to the table, rather than thinking what you can take away from the table, is a really healthy way of building community, building a more stable, sustainable way for you to play over time. Because I'm like 45, and the last thing I want to do is end my motorcycling journey in 2 years or 2 months just because I did something stupid. I hurt myself. I got into an accident which left me traumatized and I can never ride again. So there's so many difficulties that come on this path simply because it is that path which straddles safety and danger, and you're always on that tightrope. Something can always go wrong. Something will probably always go wrong if you consider Murphy's Law. And that's why it's so important to build a good, healthy community around you who will help you stay on point, who will also help you when you get too cocky and start doing stupid shit. They kind of rein you in and say, hey man, you might want to take a second look at this and not do something stupid. So it's really important to stress on building community from within, from your own friend circle, and not depend on brands and external attempts to build community. If you find a community that vibes with you, join them. If you don't, start your own. It's not a big deal. All you need to do is just show up at the same time, same place, at your own fixed interval, and then people know that you're there and you act like this lighthouse. And then eventually people start coming towards you because they're just looking for a place to hang and chill and stay. And I feel like, to me, motorcycling is one of those spaces which is a low floor. Anyone can join. All you need to do is just walk up to a dealer, buy a motorcycle. A lot of people might even build their own motorcycles, or you may just inherit a motorcycle because your dad passed it on to you, your uncle passed it on to you. It was just lying in the family. Nobody was using it. There's incredibly low floor for motorcycling. Anyone can jump in. And at the same time, there's an incredibly high ceiling to motorcycling because there's no end to how you can hone your skills. Right? And those skills can be social skills as to building community, bringing more people into the motorcycling fold. It can be sport-based skills where you enter the space where you're now competing and, you're not in the collaborative space, which is what community building is. You're more in the competitive space, which is what the sport arena is, right? And in between, you have this entire spectrum where you can mix and match and create your own flavor of motorcycling with people around you. And this is an inherently initiative based experience and experiment, because you have to have that desire, that passion to want to do something. It doesn't matter what. You may just want to meet more people, you may just want to travel, you may just want to geek out on the aspects of what motorcycling is all about as a culture and how it has kind of grown over time. Because in the history of mankind, we have always buddied with another creature that has helped us traverse distance and time and space, right? Initially, it could have been bullock carts, horses, anything that helped us when we couldn't do it ourselves, right? It's kind of like the efficiency principle. You create a machine that helps you do things more efficiently, more effortlessly over time. And today, for me, a motorcycle is exactly that. It's still that thing that carries me. And then that's why we build this deep bond, because essentially we're bonding. It's like my horse, right? A horse and a rider have an extremely deep bond that grows over time the more you're riding together. And today, just because that horse, which was a live, living creature, has been replaced with a motorcycle, which is essentially an inanimate, mechanical beast, there still is that bond, right? So it's like the muse maketh the artist. In this case, the muse from an animal has become a machine, but it still is what keeps that artistic element of a man's soul alive, right? And I think there's a magical space. It is a magical space. And all you need to do is just jump on a motorcycle and you're in that space, right? It really doesn't matter if you're connecting with the motorcycle at first shot, but that's what happens when you keep riding. The more you ride, the more you connect, the more you relate. And then you have all these layers of skill, of connecting with others outside of you. But this motorcycle is almost like a mirror. The more you ride it, the more you're looking into who you really are as a person. And you start reflecting into who you are, how you can be better. It gives you these opportunities to not only reflect and contemplate, but to also act in the direction of your desire, right? Whether it's chasing your passion of travel or whether it's just of looking for your own personal inner growth, like you're trying to polish this person that you are, and this motorcycle gives you the time and space within which to do it. Right. So really, once you're on that motorcycle, the road doesn't matter. Where you're coming from doesn't matter. Where you're going to doesn't matter. You're just immersed in that moment, and the motorcycle is the medium. Right. So that's pretty much why I'm enjoying myself as a middle-aged motorcyclist, engaging with my motorcycle, engaging with myself, engaging with people around me. And the beauty of it is we're all in this together. We're in the right time and space in India where motorcycling is now not just a commuter space. It's not just a transportational instrument. It's not just a medium for sport and competitive interaction. It's this beautifully widespread experience that allows you to connect India 1 with India 2, India 3, because as an urban person, when I travel through cities, when I travel through villages, I'm moving from these India 1, India 2, India 3, which is like just more like a marketing target audience buzzword. But when you come down to the reality, it helps me connect with people on the street. It helps me relate with people on the street. What's happening outside of my ivory tower? What's happening outside of my concrete and steel bubble that I'm in with? So this is kind of why I am so enamored with motorcycling and why I want to sustainably continue this journey. I don't want to break down. I don't want to burn out. I want to be able to go the distance. And I hope to be motorcycling another 40 years from now as well. So hop on. See you soon.